And we're back after the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which was, I would have to say, quite an interesting one. But here with me, we've got our co-host Nash. Nash, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm pretty damn good considering this weekend and the drama and the excitement and the ups and downs. Yeah, it's been a very interesting weekend, and I'm looking very much forward to this podcast.
No, same here, same here. Oh, a quick one. Rating out of 10, what would you give Baku?
Oh, that's tough. Um, I would maybe give it a 7. That's kind of where I'm landing right now. I would have given it a 6, maybe a 6.5, except for the fact that there was drama at the end, and specifically Checo and Carlos coming together, and then some implications in the Constructors' Championship. Other than that, it was an okay race, but it felt kind of procession-y. It's got similar aspects to Monaco, but I do partially enjoy the track. I enjoy it from the perspective of once you've actually experienced it, being a race engineer for like an online racing, like racing team, essentially, because our one of our contributors to the channel, Swizzles, is happens to be one of the best drivers I happen to know, but also he's driven on Baku a couple times that we've had competition on, and you have a new appreciation for it when you're in that position.
Yeah, I have to agree. Watching him go around Baku is some magical work. It's a shame the other circumstances around that, but I think for me, I would give Baku definitely like an 8.5. I think it was the most exciting race we had this whole year, right? I mean, we had three people fighting for P1 for like what, since like lap 20. Not even 20, like 18. That's when Piastri overtook Leclerc for the race lead. So I would say that was very exciting because like even the smallest like mistake could cost you P1, and we got to see Piastri under pressure, like a lot of pressure. Like I mean, Charles was on his ass the whole time, so we got to see that quite a bit, as well as Sergio. Sergio also applied pressure to Charles, making sure that if he if there was even a slightest mistake, he would have overtaken him. We also did get to see some cool drifting shots of the drivers over the, what's it called, the curb in on turn one, where they're just going a little bit over the edge. So we got to see some cool angles there.
I'm
Um,
definitely in agreement there.
yeah.
Look, I may be a little biased. I feel like there've been a couple more exciting races throughout the season. We've also seen, I mean, look, the competitiveness of the cars in the top three was really exciting. We all know Sergio loves Baku, and considering the fact that he was able to get the car under him actually working, when you see how difficult Max found the car, it's a good mark on him, but it also probably just shows how terrible that car actually is right now, because Checo always seems to drive a bad car really well.
Yeah. Hey, it's a very good talent for him. He just needs to get into the right team then for it.
Yeah, circumstances need to be adjusted.
Absolutely. Right. Let's have a quick look at the race results. So at P20 we had Esteban Ocon. P19 we had Lewis Hamilton. So both of them started from the pit lane after making changes to their cars. Then in P18 was Pierre Gasly. 17 Guan Yu Zhou. 16 Valtteri Bottas. 15 Lando Norris. 14 Daniel Ricciardo, 13 Lance Stroll, 12 Nico Hulkenberg, 11 Yuki Tsunoda, 10 Oliver Behrman, 9 Alex Albon, 8 Franco Colapinto, 7 Fernando Alonso, 6 Max Verstappen, 5th George Russell, 4th Sergio Perez, 3rd Carlos Sainz, 2nd Oscar Piastri, and taking pole was Charles Leclerc. I must say that quali was an interesting quali.
It was an interesting quali, but yeah, there's a lot to go into because I mean Lando Norris getting caught by the yellow flags, causing him to have to abort his lap, which in turn made him not be able to set a quick enough time to be able to get out of Q3, was atrocious.
It really
Absolutely atrocious. I think that's why having a banker lap is so important, and it's a thing that even Max Verstappen learned, I think, a year ago or 2 years ago, when it was after the Monaco incident when Checo crashed. And he was like, cool, now you usually see Max be one of the first people out on the track setting a good baseline so that even if things go terribly, he's at least got a good baseline lap in.
Yeah, it reminds me of when Charles put it on pole in Monaco and then crashed immediately after.
Yep.
And it's like, and I remember Max's comments. He's just like, how can he just do that? Like, he crashes, so now no one can put a time in.
Yep.
To beat his. So, yeah, it catches you out. Like, I would be real. Especially if you don't find that space on track. Right.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree at all. I mean, it's been an interesting weekend, and I think there's a few things that we need to get into. I have a lot of comments to make about Charles Leclerc.
I remember some of those comments, but let's start at the bottom with the first DNF was Yuki Tsunoda. Unfortunate for him, that he has rolling bad luck. Like, he can't seem to get away from Lance Stroll, and he just can't finish a race now.
Yeah, he's had a really tough run of races the past few races, in fact. Especially with someone that we know is capable of getting the car into the points. He has just had a really bad run of luck. It's very unfortunate because we expect better things from Yuki, and right now it just doesn't look like it's going his way. But there were a lot of DNFs this weekend as well.
Mm. Um, to be fair, I fully blame this incident on Lance Stroll. Like, diving up on the inside of that specific corner is like that. It's already a tight corner. Now you're gonna dive on the inside for that corner. What specifically? What is it? Is it turn 5? It's 1,
Especially
2,
when you
3. It's 4. Turn 4, basically. Yeah.
especially when you now have to rotate the car right after that corner.
Mm.
I struggle to understand sometimes what Charles Leclerc is doing.
Charles, you mean Lance Stroll?
I mean, not Charles, Lance Stroll. My apologies.
Yeah. No. Especially for start of the race, like
Yeah. I mean,
get through to lap 1, and if you have the better car, you'll get past them. Like, there's no need to absolutely rush it. There's still the pit stop phases.
yeah. I think it's very different when you don't have to care because Daddy's money is going to pay for the repairs.
That is true. Which is where it leads us to P19. He ends up retiring because of the damage that he ended up causing to his own car.
Yeah.
So, the consequences of my own actions.
Oh no, the consequences of my own actions.
Who would have thought they would have hurt me
Who
this
would've?
bad? Oh, yeah, that's just what it is.
What I find really interesting is the fact that he had it's the most talkative I've seen him in a post-race interview in pretty much his F1 career.
Hey, I don't know which is better. That interview where he just couldn't give a single
care in the world.
Care in the world, or this one. Like, I don't know which one is funnier to me.
For me, the one where he couldn't give care in the world, that one was hilarious. Because it was hilarious and annoying at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't complete media duties there. Like, that should be a reprimand and a half. But oh no, I just looked over at the list on which tour is next. So I want to get your take on it. Who do you think is at fault? Why are
Easy
they
Money
at fault?
Perez. Easy Money Perez.
Why is it fault, and what percentage, if you were to give fault?
70% Perez, because Carlos had made the move. He was already had made the move, and Carlos was just going straight. He wasn't drifting as much as he potentially could have. Whereas Perez kept attacking essentially and drifted into Carlos. The two wheels touched Checo's front right wheel and Carlos's rear left wheel, and it just sort of locked them, and they hit the wall. So in my opinion, I would blame Perez for that incident. If he had given Carlos a little bit more space, if he was a little bit more to the left, that accident might have not even happened.
Okay.
What about you? What do you think?
I was thinking more of it being like 57% Perez's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, the rule states it's on the driver doing the overtaking to make sure that you don't crash into each other, right? And the thing is that Sainz when he got a bad line because he tried to overtake Charles at the same time, so he didn't hit the apex, which I think that was completely greedy of Sainz to try go for a double overtake in that short of a what's it called run.
That short run, I agree. It was not relatively. It was absolutely careless. But
right. So it put him on a part of the track that had no grip. So he got a very bad exit, which gave Perez the opportunity to attack. Because if Sainz just overtook Perez, stayed behind Leclerc, went through the corner, took the apex, he would have had the speed to then overtake Leclerc with the DRS, and then it would have been fine. That's why I think part of it is still Sainz's fault.
Okay.
The other part is that once both Perez and Sainz turned into turn 2, they both angled their cars in a way that at a certain point they would cross. They weren't running parallel to each other. So, and the thing is, the track also does turn left. So Carlos is drifting to the left. I don't think Perez wasn't drifting. Perez just stayed on his line and didn't want to move with the track. And so when Carlos moves over, Perez had time to see that Carlos is drifting over, but he didn't react to be like, oh, we're going to touch or anything. So that's why I say it's a little bit more on Perez, because he saw that Sainz is moving over and he could have done something a little bit different. Although the timing it's very short. I mean, that was like in the span of like 2 or 3 seconds. But they have the reaction time. So, yeah, I still think Perez is at fault for it, but racing incident, you know?
You have swayed me. I was a little bit more lenient. I was more lenient on Carlos than I was on Checo, but with that explanation, you've swayed me there.
That's interesting. Next up, Valtteri Bottas. He's an interesting one because he's currently fighting for a contract. And
here's the thing. Sorry to interrupt you, but I've been reading a lot and hearing a lot of rumors that he's contemplating retirement if he doesn't get another contract. Now, I said this in the group earlier, and if you're contemplating retirement, you should retire. Specifically in this sport, because number one, I don't think, and I've said this before, I don't think you ever lose the speed, you just lose the drive. And number two, if you're just staying here just because you want to be an F1 driver, you're blocking the door for other F1 hopefuls, people that you were not that long ago, and you're stopping them from getting their opportunity to drive. It's not like you're driving for a top team and you're like, I could maybe win a world champ, or I could maybe win a couple more races. You're just here driving the car. I mean, he still finished last in terms of people that completed the race. He finished in a worse off position than his teammate, who hasn't been exciting this season. And it's frustrating because, firstly, Valtteri Bottas is a great driver. His service to Mercedes was amazing, but it's also a bit lackluster in a sense, because I would have expected him to push the team, specifically, well, kick Sauber, a little bit more in a direction to make them a bit more competitive. Right now, they are the worst team on the grid, and I don't see any hope of them getting better.
Yeah, I have to agree. Valtteri, he's. I think one of the problems is also Sauber isn't spending money on improving. Because like I would have to go back and look at all the upgrades that Sauber has managed to bring for this year, because I don't remember ever hearing about Sauber bringing a package to help improve the car. Because I mean, both Valtteri and Joe still don't have any points, and they're going to end the whole year with having no points. So, and I think it's one of the problems why Valtteri going to Sauber was like, it wasn't the greatest moves, and it's also why like Sainz didn't want to sign to go to Sauber, right, with the hope of the Audi project, right? But now you have to sit a whole nother year of underperformance because the car is lackluster. I mean, I don't know what performance you can probably get out of a car that hasn't been improved on for a whole year. And the thing is, we know Valtteri can provide, but there's I don't think the car has anything in it.
I think there's only so much you can do. And I mean, the reality is, like I said, you never really lose the speed, you lose the drive. We've seen it happen with Seb Vettel. We saw it happen with Kimi Raikkonen,
Danny Rick.
because Danny Rick. Because if you put them in a situation where they can be competitive, somehow, some way, they look really competitive. The only person that you can, and my case in point for that is, look at Fernando Alonso. He's still, in my opinion, one of the top three drivers on the grid, and those are the world champions: Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen. Those are the three best drivers on the grid. If you had to say, okay, I need you to drive this getaway vehicle, and I need you to get away from, I need you to get away from the blue lights, who are you putting in the car? One of those three guys. If you've got the whole grid, the F1 grid to pick, you're picking one of those three guys.
Guaranteed Max Verstappen.
100%. I agree with you. 100%.
That's just the pick. Yeah, but continue.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just. I think Valtteri has had a good career. He's had a very successful career by any standard, in the sense that he's won races, he's been competitive, he's had an outstanding career. Yes, he never won a world championship, but not everyone does.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the truth. Not everyone gets to be one of those elite individuals that wins a world championship. So, yeah, he's had a good career. I think it's time to grab his bicycle and ride off into the sunset.
And like I said, whack. He could so do whack.
Yeah, and he could probably win a world championship in that category.
Possibly. Although also, if you look at what his demands are for Sauber, is he wants a multi-year contract that goes and extends into the Audi project. So not only does he need to negotiate with Sauber kick right now, he also needs to negotiate with Audi which it's just unrealistic, right?
It really is unrealistic.
It's,
And when you look at it from the perspective of specifically Theo Porcher, who Sauber asked him to do a specific amount of things, and then he goes and does that, wins the F2 World Championship last year, and then this season is just without a drive, and next season will be without a drive,
yeah,
and will most likely be without a drive indefinitely, because I don't see Theo Porcher getting a shot. Because what's uncomfortable is that you look at the way Bortoletto's been driving in F2, you look at the way Hadjar's been driving in F2, and yes, they're competitive. They're both 1 and 2 in F2 right now. Either of them can win the world championship. There's still a couple more races to go. But when I look at both of them, I go, damn, those two kids deserve to be in F1. But then maybe I'm looking at it from a very biased perspective, because last season I was watching Frederick Vesti and Teo, and I was going, I'm not going to lie, I rated Vesti a little bit more than I rate Teo. I really think Vesti deserved a shot in F1. Unfortunate reality is he never got it. I would have liked to see him in the cast in the Williams instead of Logan Sargent last season, or well, this season. But you know, we are where we are, and these things happen.
yep, and to your point there, I think F1 is starting to almost undermine what the point of F2 is, because you look at someone like Kimi Antonelli, right?
Mm-hmm.
Toto Wolff has been talking about this about him for the longest time, praising
Mm-hmm.
him, and you look at it, he skipped F3 to go just join F2, just so that Mercedes can put him in the car next year, right?
I will have to stop you right there. There is an actual logical reason for why he skipped F3.
All right.
So the F2 cars went through a rules change, and they came out with new cars this season. And F3, you know, F3 is F3, but if if Kimi if Kimi did a season in F3, and then a season in F2, everybody that's in the car would have had a year of experience on Kimi. And why not get into the car when there's a rule change? Because everybody's starting from the same level, everybody's starting from ground zero and going. And by that account, he is sitting P6. He has won a sprint, he has won a race, he's been on multiple podiums, he's been very good. He hasn't been a revelation like we would expect him to be, but by the same account, Max Verstappen didn't win the F3 World Championship when he got promoted to F1. He came second to, guess who? Esteban Ocon. So yes, there's a slight bitter taste if you're someone that hasn't looked at it from that perspective. But from where I sit, and I look at it from the perspective of, there was a rule change, and why be a step behind if you're going to be in F2 for a year or two? Because I think that's what initially was planned when he made the decision, because Lewis Hamilton was supposed to stay at Mercedes for 2 more seasons, and now things are very different. Now the picture has completely changed. So there's a little bit of nuance involved there.
Yeah, definitely there is. But going to my point about it is, or at least with the Driver Academy things, is that it's almost making F2 like pointless, if you can get to where I'm saying. Because you look at like Theo Porcher, how much did he do for Sauber? Yet he still doesn't get a drive. Sauber is currently looking at putting Bortoletto into the car. At the rate of how Carlo Pinto is performing in the Williams, they're even looking at giving him a seat, possibly for a year, right?
Mm.
And this is a driver that's in your academy, but you're just leaving them out for the dust. What is the point of even trying to compete to win F2? Maybe like you just win F2 and now you need to go look at a whole different category, right? We look at Liam Lawson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Liam's still not without a drive, although there's current new rumors and things going around. But how long has it been that he never had a drive, right? And now, it's not. And now you get a few drivers who are just like picked from karting days, and it's like, okay, cool. Once you qualify to be in the F1 seat, you just get to be in the F1 seat.
Specifically, who are you talking about with regards to that?
More general statement, not in specifics.
Okay. So, yes and no. Um, oh, it's a little complicated because, look, I 100% believe that Kimi Antonelli and Ollie Berman deserve to be in F1 next season.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have a general bias with those two because I've been watching them for a long time. So finally getting to see them get into F1 is kind of like how I felt when Lando, Alex Albon, and George Russell finally got into F1. It's yes, my guys are in. Yes, finally. So I am maybe a little biased to that, but yes, I do agree that F2 doesn't feel like it has a path to anywhere because once upon a time, every year the grid would change. Now you kind of get the sense that the grid's going to be very similar for next season. Well, like what we have in the grid for next season is most likely what we're going to have for the grid for 2026 because the teams want continuity on the rules change and want to see how the drivers compare this season to the next season, what needs to be adjusted, what needs to be added, what needs to be removed. And it's kind of complicated now because you've got all of these kids coming up through the F2 and F3 and they're getting and they look really good. Some of them just look absolutely fantastic. And you know that they're never going to get a shot in F1 because there's just no seats.
Yeah. That's why we need more teams of the grid.
I agree. 100% agree.
Hashtag
Without a question.
free Andretti, man. Free Andretti.
Free Andretti.
Right. On to P15. Esteban Ocon. I mean,
Yeah.
the man's driving like, I got a job elsewhere, bro. I don't care about this team anymore. Yeah, but be real. You got his horse drive and he's just there like, yeah.
Yep, he's complaining a lot more. He's a lot more agitated. Yeah, it's just I don't know what to say, man. I feel like he's just you know when you've put in your 2 weeks resignation at work,
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm just twiddling my thumbs. I'm just kicking my feet back and forth under the desk until the day that I'm done and I'm out of here and I can hit you with the peace sign and I don't have to deal with you guys again.
Yeah, that sounds just like what Esteban is doing right at this point. And he's just...
But also, he's driving for a team that is chronically dysfunctional.
chronically dysfunctional.
They are chronically dysfunctional. That's what they are. If they were a T-shirt, they'd be chronically dysfunctional.
Yeah, that sounds right. That really does sum up Alpine as a team.
Right?
Like, I mean, the engine manufacturing plant's gonna close down, and they're not gonna produce an engine anymore. Bro, oh how the mighty have fallen.
Which the people in the engine factory are protesting right now. They are actively protesting, but they're protesting the way French people protest, which is
light things on fire.
No, they're wearing like white T-shirts and stuff. I don't particularly understand how they are protesting, but okay. The truth is that Alpine is just a badly managed team, like, and we see it purely at the fact that somehow, some way, by all the negativity that came with this guy. Somehow, Flavio Briatore is back. Somehow, I don't know how that guy is back in F1. He keeps re-returning.
All we need now is who was the previous owner of Force India? Who ran away? We just need him to return as well.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He sent that team into administration.
And it will be carnage. Imagine he joins Alpine as well. Oh, the carnage in the team would be fantastic, don't you think?
No.
I would freaking
No. Absolutely not.
Like,
It was Viljay Malaya. I don't particularly know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, no, he was the worst owner in F1 history, in my opinion. I mean, okay, maybe not in F1 history, but in modern or more recent F1 history, that guy was awful. I have, for the decades I've been watching F1, I've never seen a team go into administration. Granted, Caterham might have, and okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. There have been a lot of teams that have had some really terrible operational times, but man, Alpine to me is the worst. It's the because how can because now F1 is profitable. I don't understand how you manage to screw it up all the time.
bro, that is an Alpine thing. It's a French thing. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he's secretly running things in the background, and it's just like we're waiting for that day. Like it's gonna be the last day of silly season this year, and then it's just gonna come out that he's secretly been funding Alpine, and it's just they're like, damn, this makes sense.
Well, Alpine sold some shares not long ago, so maybe he bought some of them, and he's influencing from the background. Because I don't know what's going on with it. The management is just a nightmare. Oh man, like, do you know the definition of these guys have no idea what they're doing when they decided, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go get Pierre Gasly to come partner Esteban Ocon. like we all sat there and we're like, oh, wait, you mean the guys that have hated each other since they were children? You want to get them to drive together on the same team?
Yeah. Sounds like a great idea.
That seems like Netflix were just sitting there rubbing their hands like they were Birdman, just so excited on. Oh yeah, this is about to be fantastic.
You best believe they're keeping that accident in Monaco ready, bro. Like,
they've got it ready. Ooh, next season's Drive to Survive is going to be dramatic.
It really will, with all the shenanigans that went on in this year alone. Ooh.
Yeah.
Drive to Survive will bring in a lot of new F1 fans.
I agree with that.
Right. P14, Guan Yu Zhou.
Silent Assassin.
Absolutely. He probably gets the GP seat though, which is fantastic for him. P13, Danny Rick. This is not a man who's probably gonna keep his seat, unfortunately. But the reports that we are seeing that Red Bull might just put Liam Lawson in over Danny Rick it's increasing. And I mean,
I'm not opposed.
Yeah. Part of it was, I think Helmut said they want to get VCarb, Cash App, Money, Thingy, Graham back to being a junior team. So they constantly have a rotation of juniors driving in that team and not really have those veterans. You know, Danny Rick, he's a veteran of the sport at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Other than that, I didn't actually see much of Danny Rick in the race, if I think about it. I think mainly because we had such an exciting fight for first place that we didn't see much else go on. Which is crazy. 'Cause would you say that's poor management in terms of like the race director, not the actual race director, but in terms of for like the director for viewership? because we didn't see much else go on as outside of the fight for P1. I mean, we even got a yellow flag in Sector 1, and I don't remember them showing who caused the yellow flag, what was the yellow flag for.
Yes, okay, look, the race direction wasn't great. But what I can say is that there was a lot of excitement in the front of the grid. So trying to peel our eyes off that and focus on something else was a hard pass. No, I want to see the guys that are racing for number one. That's what I want to see. Give it back, give it back. I want to watch that. So
No,
I
yeah,
feel like everybody had that same feeling.
yeah, I agree, but like, I mean, they can still do the little small picture with the names and show the overtake there while the main action is. So if you don't want to see the main action, you can just peek over to the side and see, oh, Danny Rick overtook somebody, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. But there was barely any of that. Like, the only time I really noticed it was when we went to watch Lewis overtake Ollie, and then they changed the actual screen from that, and then they put up the fight for first in the corner so that we could still see what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
So
It's been really interesting.
Spiciest, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's going to be interesting because because here's the thing: Visa Cash App, not Toro Rosso, are according to Helmet are supposed to be a junior team. Liam Lawson is 22 years old, and Yuki Tsunoda is a little bit older than that, but like Isaac Hajar is 19 years old. He's 19. He's a baby.
Yeah.
And he's on his way to win the championship. I think we need to give the kid a little bit more flowers, man. Like, he should have an opportunity to actually get into an F1 car. Right now, it just doesn't look like he's going to get the opportunity. He's competing for potentially winning the championship, but he's not going to get a shot because it's just stagnated. Same thing with Bortoleto. Bortoleto is also 19 years old. Turns 20 this year. And even though Felipe Dragovic is the reserve driver for Aston Martin, and you'll understand why, because F1 needs a Brazilian in F1. We need a Brazilian. How are there no Brazilians?
The British have taken over.
Well, the British and the Australians.
Oh yeah. Oh, we have quite a few. And next year it's still gonna. It's quite a few. We have actually quite a few British gonna be on the grid next year. It's George, Lewis, Ollie,
Lando.
Yeah, that's 4 British on the grid, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy.
Out of 20 of them, I mean, 4 of them are British people. It's quite insane.
4 are British, 2 are Australian, 2 are French. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Pierre Gasly finished in P12. I mean, he's doing work for Alpine, even though the team is falling apart internally. Well, he kind of has to drive. He's surviving.
Yeah, I feel like he's doing the best he can, and genuinely, that's kind of the point. I mean, he's been very competitive. He's got the car into the point several times this season, but yeah, it's just something about. I think just Alpine just has a sour taste in the mouth. It just doesn't feel like they're a team that actually cares enough or wants to be here. It's just so strange. They're a strange team.
They really are. Right. Let's go P11 and P10. I want to talk about this. This is something that I found so damn funny. Right. In P11, we have Nico Hulkenberg, and P10, we have Oliver Behrman, right?
Yes, sir.
So, earlier in the race, they asked Oliver to give the position to Hulkenberg, so Hulkenberg could go on further, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, race ended up happening.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to the point where Carlos and Sergio crashed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's obviously a yellow flag there, right?
Yep.
So now everyone's following through, and Oliver does a crazy thing. He's waiting. They take the next turn, which is turn 3, right? And into turn 4, once they clear the yellow flag, he immediately overtook Nico, and then they hit the VSC.
Yep. Yep.
I thought that was a fucking genius plan, bro. Like, damn, he really finessed Nico for a single point, and I mean, damn. Look, I'm happy about it. It's funny as hell to see that happen.
He finessed him for a single point and became the first driver in history to score points for 2 different teams in the same season. That's my boy, Ollie. That's my boy.
Don't forget, he's still outscoring 6 other drivers.
One of them is named Valtteri Bottas, who's a multiple race winner, and the other one's named Logan Sargent, who doesn't have a hope and a prayer of ever touching an F1 car in his life again.
Bro, like, what I find funny is, like, also, Logan in his whole F1 career has managed to score 1 point. 1.
Mm-hmm.
Ollie is not even racing, and he manages to get, it's 6 or 7 points now.
He's on 7.
He's on 7. 7 points.
7 points.
In 2 races for 2 different teams.
Yeah.
In a car that's arguably worse off than the Williams.
Nah, I don't think so. I think the Haas is better than the Williams. I think it's a better total package. I think the Williams is good on certain tracks.
I mean, like Baku, but
yeah, with a lot of straights. It's got a 2.2 kilometer straight on it. Of course, it's going to be faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I still find that absolutely funny. Ollie did a freaking great job to do that, as well as his battle with Lewis was really good. He held his own for a while.
Yeah, he did. It was very nice to watch. Very competitive. Very fun to watch. I loved it.
I mean, even Lewis was like, "Damn, it's really fun to race these new bloods."
Yeah. But also, it just just one of those stats where it's like Fernando Alonso had won, I think, his first championship by the time, no, I don't think it was that, but it's Fernando Alonso had started racing before some of these kids were born, and you're just like, oh my gosh, how's that, bruh? Like, man, Alonso, you old bruv.
Yeah, they are.
Fox.
He's a sly fox, bro. That's just how it is.
Yep, can confirm. Yeah, but that Ollie Berman, and here's the thing. Here's what makes me happy is that there are 2 rules in F1 as a driver. Number 1, beat your teammate. Number 2, don't crash into your teammate. Ollie did both things. He did both things this weekend, and Esteban Ocon is watching that, and he is seething, thinking, damn it, I'm going to get beaten by this kid. Because he is, in my opinion. And I hope he is.
He definitely is. And
I hope he is.
The only thing I hope for is that these 2 are never next to each other on track. Please.
They will be. No, that's just racing. It's just racing. It's just how it is. And we all know how Esteban Ocon reacts when he sees someone with the same livery as him.
Whew. He sees red. He sees red and it's a target. Ollie, I wish you good luck for that, man. That's going to be hell to pay.
Yep, as do I.
P9, Lewis Hamilton.
Mm.
That was a... I honestly don't know what Mercedes did to that car. Because, he did quite well in qualifying. If you can hear me say that.
Well, I mean, he qualified in P7.
Yeah.
To fix the race in P9 is something is big wrong there. I don't know what's going on, but it just feels like the Mercedes just isn't clicking right. But I feel like Lewis has been struggling with the Mercedes all season, but that's also maybe because they've been developing the car more towards what Russell wants, because he's going to be there next season. Lewis definitely isn't. Kimi Antonelli's going to be jumping into his seat. So yeah, it feels like it's been going away from Hamilton. On the plus side, he's got 2 race wins on his belt this season, and he gets to step into Ferrari with that energy. But he needs to start coming right towards the end of the season, because it's gonna be good to take good momentum into Ferrari.
Yeah. Ooh, imagine he wins Abu Dhabi. That would be crazy. To take that victory.
Oh man, oh,
To take that
I don't want to
victory
talk
to
about
Ferrari.
such things. No, I don't want to talk about such things.
I'm just talking about another win. I don't know where you're going with this, but like, yeah, I think
I'm having flashbacks, man. Just flashbacks. And F1 fans will understand what I'm talking about.
I'm ignoring those flashbacks. Each time it pops up, I'm like, next. Like, we can't keep living in pain, man. It hurts every time. But I also think part of what happened to Lewis was they did some suspension changes to the car, which is also
Yeah.
what forced him to start in P19.
Yes, yeah, because he did start from the back of the grid. I mean, look, he made up 10 places, and that's impressive. So, from where you start to where you finish, it's a good.
It's a good
It's
recovery.
it's a decent race, but I also think that they had an engine issue that they also were dealing with.
No, but
So
it was
so
he got a new engine.
yes, he did. And the thing to me is, when they changed Russell's engine, they also should have changed Lewis's. So I don't know why they didn't do that. They should have just done it, bit the bullet, and run with it from that point. But it's hard to. I can't dictate what Mercedes should be doing, and it's hard for me to see what those engineers are thinking and what their thought process was. But I would assume that the best choice would have been to swap the engines at the same time, try to keep the cars closer together on the grid. And who knows? I mean, well, not even who knows. If Hamilton had been on the track, there's a high likelihood he would have finished between P6 and potentially even a podium.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I do
So,
think so as well.
yeah. So, yeah. But moving on to
P8.
P8. Oh, man.
Hmm.
I can't say nicer things about this kid, but because last week we spoke about how sensational of a first drive he had. This week he scored more points than Logan Sargent has ever touched in his life. He scores 4 points in his second outing in the Williams, after crashing it on Friday to qualifying competitively, and then absolutely doing what he was supposed to do, sitting directly behind his teammate,
Like just under 2 seconds.
barely 2 seconds away from his teammate. Alex Albon is his teammate, barely 2 seconds away, scores 4 points. As far as I'm concerned, this is for him a Grand Slam weekend.
They absolutely did. Second, dude, it's absolutely beautiful to see this performance from him, man. And as well as he's this what? He was the next Argentinian driver since a very long time. I forgot the year that it was, but and then to come out and score points like this in the Williams, bro. That I think that gave Williams themselves some extra motivation. On top of that,
Also a sigh of relief, because the whole thing of him and Schumacher, him and, like, well, are you picking him? You're picking him over Schumacher, you're picking him over Lawson, you're picking him over, and then it's like, oh, he's had 2 entries and the kid has scored 4 points, and oh, damn, okay, yeah, he's actually competitive.
yeah, which
And he's
is
only 21 years old. He's a wee lad.
it's fantastic, dude. It's great to see him perform like this. Hopefully, he'll get more. But I
Oh,
also,
23, he's 21. My apologies.
yeah, a quick correction there. But this has now helped Williams be eighth in the championship.
Yep.
And I think that just if it continues to go like this, they might just cement themselves in eighth and be a permanent contender there. Speaking of that, what I found funny was I saw it was a joke. It's like Carlos Sainz secretly crashing into Perez so that Williams can score 8 so they'll have extra money for the next year. Big brain. 500 IQ plays from Carlos Sainz, bro. He's just like, yeah, sweet. The team I'm going to, we can have more money. We can do something with this car next year.
Hey, the conspiracy theories, let fly. Let them fly.
It is. P7. Alex Albon. What can, I,
Mm-hmm.
what can I say? Every time he gets to a circuit where this car is great at, he seems to perform with it, scoring at least a single point, whether it's 10th or more. I think 7th is the highest he's actually placed with that Williams since he's joined. So, to score 6 points in a single race for Williams, that is fantastic. I'm very interested to see what he's competitive going, how competitive he's going to be when Carlos joins the team. That is going to be a very interesting one. I just hope that they won't be like crashing into each other. Let's hope for none of that shenanigans, and they can just get Williams like 7th. Let's aim for 7th. You know.
I do not disagree at all. But I mean, the fact that he's been able to be relatively competitive with a car that doesn't feel like it belongs anywhere close to where he's finishing, it's really nice to see. It's good for the team. I think them both finishing in the points and Alpine not finishing in the points, helping them leapfrog them. I mean, they're only 3 points ahead of Alpine. 4 of those points were scored by Colapinto. If Logan Sargent was in that car, we 100% would not have had that.
Yeah, Alpine would still be ahead right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to see. I hope Colapinto and Williams are able to continue this form, and hopefully they finish the season in P8. I think it's a bit unrealistic for them to be gunning for for P7, but you know, crazier things have happened. I mean, we literally saw that happen over this past weekend with the top runners of the constructors.
I mean, yeah, McLaren did leapfrog
Mm-hmm.
over this race. But we'll get to McLaren when we get to the first driver there.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, so I think this it also gives Williams the team overall that motivation to be like, oh, yes, something's actually working, and we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere, and they can actually go on holiday and be like, you know what, we actually did quite well,
Mm.
and they can start aiming, higher and higher, till they get the car back up into contention with the top of the midfield, and then who knows, maybe they can challenge the top tier teams.
I mean, we can dream. We can definitely dream.
We definitely will do. In P6, Fernando Alonso in his Aston Martin. Damn. I think this was the highest he's gotten in a few races now, because I know he scored a 10th in, I think it was Italy, and then Netherlands. He just barely made it as well. So to get 8 points for the team is pretty good. How much points are Aston on? They're in 82 points, almost at 100 points.
Yeah, but they're comfortably sitting in that P5 position, where it's going to be very tough for RB to catch up to them, but it's absolutely impossible for them to catch Mercedes at 300 points.
Oh yeah.
It's just not. But it's they have a good gap to the teams behind them, and they're comfortably in P5. But that also means that they're literally the best of the midfielders, I guess, because the top 4 teams have all won races.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the top 4 teams have won multiple races.
Yeah, actually, yes. Multiple for McLaren. I think Oscar is the next
Well,
driver.
they've won 3 at McLaren. They've
Yeah.
won 7 at Red Bull. They've won 2 with Ferrari. Is it 3? 2 with Ferrari?
It's 2 at Ferrari, which is
Yeah, 2 with Ferrari and 3 with Mercedes. So yeah, it's been absolutely it's been brilliant for if you're a casual fan and you don't support any specific team, it's been brilliant for you.
yeah, it really is. Yeah, that's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
McLaren, it's Miami. McLaren scored one Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They won Hungary.
Yes.
So it's Miami, Hungary, and then Netherlands. Okay, yeah, that's 3. And now Azerbaijan.
Yeah. So that's four for them.
Oh, so it's 2-2 each. So the
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
alright, no, that's pretty impressive from them there. I think Fernando did a good job with his Aston Martin to secure
Yeah.
themselves, and yeah, I think they're comfortable at this point. I think more out of anything, Fernando's probably having fat conversations with Adrian Newey at this point, having fat laughs to be like, hey, we can work
That
on.
would be that would be illegal.
How would it be illegal? They're just having a fat chat about how.
Hey, Adrian's on gardening leave. Adrian's on gardening leave. They must leave him alone.
He's like,
He'll be there in March. He'll be there in March.
you never know. You might just go on holiday, bump into the guy. Be like,
Hey,
ah,
bruh.
how's it?
Hey, do you remember what happened when Spygate happened?
I,
Maybe you're too young to remember those days, but I remember those days.
I know I know the penalty for it.
Yes. So let's avoid. The last thing I want to do is see Adrian Newey get banned for a year.
Uh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Right. The big shocker of this weekend, Max Verstappen is sitting in P5. That was a big shocker. Because
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to be this far behind. Like, it looks like he's no longer in that rocket ship. Like he's now
Yeah,
mortal.
like I've said it before. It's the mechanical grip in the car has somehow disappeared because Max Verstappen is fantastic with mechanical grip, but if there is none, he just can't. There's nothing he can do because the car is not sticking to the floor the way it's stuck to the floor. What must he do? What's he supposed to do? So yeah, no, it's a difficult one for Max. He at the end of the race he tried to box so that he could get the fastest lap, and right after he boxes, his teammate collides with Sainz and forces a virtual safety car, and he couldn't go for the fastest lap. So the damage limitation he was trying to do failed because Lando managed to get that fastest lap.
Yeah. You know what I actually found crazy was then Lando started on the hards, and
Mhm.
eventually he got up to Max, or Max pitted, and then Max was coming back up the field, and how Lando was fighting him for his life. Like he didn't care that
Mhm.
I still got my pit stop phase to fight you. Lando was like, nah, I'm fighting you now. I'm trying to waste your tires. Make sure that by the time I reach you after my pit stop phase, your tires are dead. There's nothing you can do, and it's just a clean overtake. Because
And that's what happened.
I mean, he
And
kind
that's
of
what
learned.
happened.
He learned from Austria. That battle was intense, to say the least. So I'll have to say I give it props to Lando though.
I agree. I agree.
In
Yeah, but Max Verstappen finishing in P5 is a bit of a shocker. 10 points. It should have been one of those weekends where the gap to Max should have been shrunk. But unfortunately, because of our P4 finisher, Lando Norris, he had a really tough qualifying session, got caught by a safety car, wasn't able to put together a proper lap in order to get himself out of that quali session. So, yeah, just underwhelming, very, very underwhelming because, I mean, Lando got knocked out in Q1, finished, I mean, he started the race in he started the race in P15, but, you know, still, it's one of those situations where you look at it and you go, if he started higher up the grid, it would have made a massive difference.
It definitely would, because McLaren are now leading the constructors, and it's just a hot mess now for the drivers.
Yeah, it is.
Because now, what is it? It's like just 59 points difference between the two, and it's getting increasingly harder and harder for him to catch up to get those points. So now look, it's 2 race wins if Max doesn't score a single point, right? That's 50 points, and then a couple other like 3 race wins. You call it 3 race wins.
Max has to DNF twice for the gap to be closed to 9 points, and Lando has to win those 2 races. So it's a lot. It's a lot to ask for. It's a lot. That's why I kind of feel like there was a sense of, oh, this might happen, to now, okay, yeah, no, it's not happening. Realistically speaking, the gap will be closed. The car will be fast for next year. We know there's no development for next year, so hopefully McLaren are able to field a competitive car, and maybe one of their drivers will win the World Championship. I have my bet now, and people are going to be shocked by it, but it's not Lando.
Yeah, it's George Russell. I totally agree with you. George Russell to win the championship.
You're foolish for that.
Well, can a Mercedes fan not dream? You know, like George Russell for the victory.
Hey man, you're welcome to dream. You're welcome to dream.
We got this championship on lock, man. Next year. Is this how a Ferrari fan sounds? Next year's our year.
Yes, that's exactly how they sound. I know exactly what that sounds like. Yeah, I've heard it my entire life. That's exactly what it sounds like. And this year, I know exactly what it feels like.
Yeah. The McLaren team is giving you a little bit of...
Yeah.
heebie-jeebies to lose faith.
Yeah.
Well, look.
No. You know what? It's hard to have that feeling of, I'm losing faith right now, when you've already been stung so many times by McLaren, and you're just like, yeah, okay, we're just gonna be bad. It is what it is. You know, I remember the GP2 engine days. I remember when we had crappy brakes. I remember when we couldn't win a single race, even if you tried to hand it to us. Oh man, I remember when we had world champions and nothing came of it. So yeah. I 100% remember the days of suffering with McLaren, and with that you grow callous, you grow a hard exterior, and you these delusions don't phase you when people are like, you could win a world championship. Yeah, these delusions don't phase you, and then one day they actually do phase you, and then you're sitting there like, yo, Lando could actually win the world championship, and then and it doesn't happen, and then
well, look,
he materializes into nothing.
McLaren are committed to trying to win the drivers as of now with Lando, right? They are committed to it. It's just Lando.
You know that song by JoJo? It's just a little too late.
Yeah, I know it well.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's like. If I had a speaker and I was in the garage right now, that's the song I'd be playing. It's just a little too late.
Oh, we'll see. We still have, like, how many more races? We have 1, 2...
7 races. 4, 7 races and 3 sprints.
Look, there's a lot of points up for grabs, bro.
Lando has to win all the races, bro.
Yeah.
How realistic do you think that is?
Well...
Go on.
Well, Ferrari needs to stop allowing Charles Leclerc to do Charles Leclerc things, because apparently he's a fast driver now.
He's always been a fast driver.
Yeah, but Ferrari have always intervened with him. Have you seen their pit stop strategies?
Yes, I have.
So they
But-
don't allow him to be a fast driver.
No. He's always been a fast driver. He's got six poles. 26 poles. 26 poles. And 7 wins.
I was waiting for you to complete your sentence because you know you have a state. That's not even your full statement. But
No, of course.
we'll get to your statement. When we get
That's
to
all. Yeah, no. We'll get there.
Right, on to my favorite driver right now, George Russell. Bro, when I tell you George Russell is the luckiest driver in the sport, nobody can argue against me because I mean he got a free victory and in a free podium, bro.
When did he get the free victory?
Austria. Remember?
When they got to sponsor it.
No, that's Belgium.
Oh, the
Austria.
Belgium.
Austria is where he won because Max and Lando crashed into each other and he was sitting in third place in the middle of nowhere and it took the victory.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, George has gotten very lucky. He's also made a lot of stupid mistakes. I immediately flash back to Singapore last year.
I knew it.
Like, like I've seen George do some really great things and then in the same breath do some really stupid things. Mr. Gambler himself, I'm gonna pit now and put on random tires and just like, dude, what are you doing? I love the guy, I genuinely do, but sometimes you look at him and you're just like, this is what ADHD in a driver looks like.
Hey, maybe, but like, look, he's trying to be the tire whisperer. And sometimes, like, the tires don't speak back to him. Like, look at Belgium, right?
Yeah.
Belgium
Yeah.
was a masterclass from him. It's a shame Mercedes failed him in having the car be underweight.
You know what it is? I just want to say it was definitely no cool down lap because you can pick up enough weight.
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe you can pick up enough weight in a cool down lap. But there's no cooldown lap at Spa because the track's too long. But if you just let them do a cooldown lap around Spa, he'll pick up enough weight, he'll be fine. But it is what it is.
I feel like what he should have done was also, obviously he didn't know he was underweight, but like,
Yeah.
if he went after he finished, just go onto the dirty side of the track to pick up something extra.
Wouldn't have been enough. He needed a full lap to get that 1.2, that 1.5 kilos.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate because that was a masterclass of a drive. And even though I was sitting there hoping Lewis was going to catch him, I was impressed to see him actually pull it off and also him make the strategy call. But we are moving away from this race, and I think George had a relatively quiet race. He was almost in no man's land, and then through the sheer tenacity of Checo Perez and Carlos Sainz, and them deciding to try and do the Dragon Ball Z Fusion and it completely didn't work.
No,
He managed to get himself on the podium.
It's the father-son Kamehameha, friend, Mexican and Spanish, they tried to like father-son, and it just ended up.
It just ended up in tears and sadness.
Absolutely, right. Hey, someone who's also in tears and sadness, Charles Leclerc, P2.
Why would he be in tears and sadness? He's used to this. This is his life.
I mean, bro, he just won 2 home races for himself, and
so what?
And now he's just back to that. He thought he could change this.
Mm-hmm.
He can't change it anymore.
I'm gonna say it again: 26 poles, 7 wins. Do you know how many poles Oscar Piastri has?
Isn't it like 2?
None. 0. Do you know how many race wins he's got?
2.
He's got 2. Mm-hmm.
And a sprint. So 2.5. So like 2.5.
Yeah, I guess. But Charles is the definition of the. Are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed?
Hey, but Ferrari, said
Maybe I'm too harsh. Maybe I'm too harsh. Maybe I am too harsh on him. But damn, dog, to have so many polls and not be able to convert any of them. Like his percentage conversion is like what? It's not even, it's like what, 30%? 30% conversion rate.
yeah, something like that. I'm not good with maths.
It's not impressive, dude. It's not impressive. When I think back to the 2022 season when Charles should have put himself in the position to win a world championship, and he just him and Ferrari bottled it.
Yeah,
Oh, man, it's it's so disheartening because I can see the potential, but I can also see where Charles makes mistakes all the time, consistently, because he gets a little what it feels like he's got like a little gremlin on his shoulder, and it just like says, drive a little quicker, drive a little quicker, drive a little quicker. And there are some drivers that outdrive the car, and there's some drivers that overdrive the car, and there's a difference. When you outdrive the car, you driving the car to a higher potential or a higher ceiling than the car is capable of. When you overdrive the car, you drive the car and you make mistakes, and you're driving the car again similarly to a point where it's not capable of doing what you're trying to get it to do. And I feel like especially with Charles, he teeters he dances on that knife's edge, and he could and it's a matter of which side is going to fall on today. We all know Charles is a great qualifier, 26 poles, but his racecraft needs a bit of something, because to only take 7 wins out of those 27, that's not as impressive as most people would think.
absolutely.
It genuinely isn't.
You know, I want to play on the side of Shaw. You know what I think could have also been that part that the little gremlin is that he didn't have like that security at Ferrari to say that, hey, you know, I will keep the seat. So he had to keep pushing, pushing, pushing. He had that little bit of that pressure that it's like, do I know? Do I not know that if I keep the seat here at Ferrari, right? And like now that he has Fred Vasseur at the team, if you look at it, this year he doesn't look like he's on that knife's edge with the car. Maybe a little. He got to that point, but in what's it called? Here in Baku, we could see him crack a little bit under the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now that he has Fred Vasseur, he's got that little bit of that, almost like that safety net, you know, to fall back on, to be like, you know, I still have the opportunity to keep the seat, and now I can just go at the car and not overdrive it, you know, not go past that knife's edge and just end up hurting the car. Unfortunately, this was the worst race for him to do it, because we saw earlier in the year he had pretty great performance at Monaco, great performance at Italy. Here, where McLaren actually put the pressure on, and I'm gonna be real, Oscar Piastri was stone cold this race, bro. Like, he did not care about Leclerc's presence, and Leclerc just ended up using too much of his tires.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw
and almost lost P2.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the graphic where Charles had like what, he was recharging, and he had like over 30% battery. Oscar's sitting at 0% battery, and he's fighting for his life. But Charles has that extra battery, and he's unable to do anything with it. I think Charles is taming himself now. He's not going to be as aggressive. I'm very interested to see what he'll be able to do next year. Or not even next year, with the next few races, because it looks like Ferrari is very much capable of taking these wins. And it's just a matter of Ferrari not doing Ferrari strats, which Charles seems to kind of have an understanding of what Carlos's magic is with the team, and
Mm-hmm.
he has an opportunity.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I just want to cement a little point really quickly. Max Verstappen has 40 poles and 61 wins. He's got 21 wins more than the poles he's got.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton has 104 poles. You want to take a guess as to how many wins he's got?
I'm gonna guess it's more than 7.
100% more than 7.
Absolutely.
He's got 105 wins. So he's also, by one, got more race victories than he's got poles. Charles Leclerc?
Yeah.
26 poles, 7 wins. Very underwhelmed. The conversion rate is not converting.
What do you know Fernando's rate?
I will tell you now.
Because, like, the thing is, with Lewis, we know if that man is on pole, there's hardly a time where he's not winning that race. Like,
I agree, but there's been plenty of races where he hasn't been on pole and he has won races. So,
exactly.
Fernando Alonso, good lord, Fernando Alonso has 22 poles, 32 wins.
Oh. Yeah.
So it, to me, what it looks like is the world champions are very capable of winning races outside of pole, and we have seen that from Hamilton. Dare I take you back to Brazil? From the first to last challenge. Like, come on, let's not play around with Lewis. So, but also Fernando Alonso, like, he's got 10 more wins than he has poles. Whereas Charles Leclerc has 19 more poles than wins.
Yeah. I think he should be called Mr. Saturday over George Russell, you know?
I don't disagree.
Right. On to the last person of the race, the man himself, Oscar Piastri. The team player, the race winner, and he's one who's going to do the same thing, right? Where he's gonna have less poles than victories.
Yeah.
Like, at this rate, bro, because he's already 2 victories, 2 race wins. My only issue that I've had so far with every win of Oscar so far is that it's been tainted by something.
What was this one tainted by?
This one was tainted by the fact that we had that safety car crash. Like, it can't be just like a normal clean race where nobody messes something up, right?
Obviously, man, you gotta finish the race. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
right now, Oscar Piastri is sitting in P4 in the constructors. There was a time in this season where I was like, yeah, nah, there's no chance. Now I'm looking at it like, oh, there's definitely no chance for him to win it. But I'm looking at that, I'm like, yo, man, that's actually really competitive. He's
up there.
13 points off of Charles Leclerc. That is reasonable. That is very reasonable. It also looks like, to me, that Oscar Piastri is the dude I want to pin my hopes on for the future, because he's decisive and he's just cold. He's just so cold. You hear him on the radio after he wins the race. He's like, yeah, bruh, like, after this, I'm just gonna go down to the shop and I'm just gonna go grab some bread for the fam and everything. Cool, I'll chat to you later.
Yeah. He's like, cool, guys. Yeah, I won. Oh, that's nice. Good job, guys. Cool.
Yeah, and a note from our resident racing driver is Oscar is closer to Lando than Lando is close to Verstappen.
Ooh. Yes, that's actually scary.
That if there was a fact that was going to spin you in this episode, that's the one.
Yeah.
I've got just one more that's also going to just spin you a little bit. Valtteri Bottas has 20 poles, and he's got 10 wins. So, you know.
Oh, yeah.
If Charles wants to be like Valtteri Bottas, he can keep going the way he's going, but otherwise he's got to figure something out.
He needs to not get Ferrari.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah, right. Oscar, man. For me, it's just like from lap 18, when he overtook Charles, the man has led the race.
Yeah.
Nobody else led the race after that, and I was just like, wow, that's quite impressive. And I mean, for a solid part of the race, he was under pressure. I mean, he had no battery. He was his opponents had DRS on him, and he just chose his line. And it was like, cool. Are you brave enough? No, no, you're not.
Like he kept on taking the correct line. That's the thing. Like, and he never gave Charles a proper opportunity to get the inside line. So he managed it so perfectly. He was consistent, didn't make any mistakes, did everything you're supposed to do if you're trying to win a damn race, and went on to do it. So yeah, he is. Man, that kid is cold, bruh. That kid is so cold.
Like, I swear, he's got some of Kimmy's blood in him, bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There has to be some finish in him because the way that he's just so calm all the time. And the thing is that you want to say, oh no, he's become like that. This kid has been like this since the second he stepped into F1. Just chilled. Like he's on a Sunday drive. Like he's just, like I said, like he's gonna go pop down to the shops to go get a loaf of bread. That's what Oscar sounds like when he comes onto the radio, bruh. Just it's like, oh yeah, nah, it's a Wednesday. We're just driving to the shop. And it's like, how are you doing? I mean, he's finally got his tire wear issues under control. He's and proof was this weekend when he had a Charles Leclerc chasing him down, and he's like, "Nope, I've got this. I'm gonna manage the pace. I'm gonna handle my lines, and I'm gonna stay consistent." And he went on to win the race. It was, to me, a genuinely amazing display. I'm very impressed with him. I think there is a big reason why the McLaren outfit are interested in not demoralizing him, because Lando feels a bit emotional at times, whereas Oscar Piastri, dare I say, has no emotion.
He has emotion. He's just got them under control.
He does. He's just managing them like a beast, and he's just always calm all the time.
Yeah, no. It's a great performance from the man. For me also, I liked his celebration. Like the way he got out the car, he was like, cool.
Yeah.
And then he stumbled on the car. He's like, oh shit,
Yep.
we're about to fall.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, cool boys, we did it.
Yep. It is like, okay, he is a human.
Yeah, he is the next. Like, I think this race definitely cemented to everyone that is like, yeah, I am him. I'm a contender for being him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Max can bleed. That's something we learned, and I can take a win from him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, because he is. I think him versus Lando versus Max versus Charles. It's going to be an interesting thing. And then also because Lewis is going to be in a Ferrari in an actual competitive car, hypothetically speaking, throw Lewis up in there.
Bro. George Russell, man. My Mercedes, bro. We're an up-and-coming team, okay?
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I believe you.
We're on the rise, like, just ignore our like many years of dominance, like that didn't happen.
Yeah. Also, over the past 2 years when you were a team on the rise, I remember that.
Yeah,
also.
We're gonna get there. Wait till our new homeboy Kimi Antonelli joins, like, there we go.
Okay, yeah. Now the big problem is that Kimi Antonelli is my guy, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, cool. Now I'm also vested in Mercedes' future interests.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, I was reading random rumors, right? And one of the rumors was that Audi may want to get George Russell, which leaves Mercedes. Oh, it's not that leaves Mercedes. Mercedes are going to go and get a different driver. I don't know who. I forgot what the rumor was saying in terms of who would have replaced George. Oh, it's Max. So if
right, yeah,
if
fair.
Mercedes gets Max, they're replacing George, and then that means that Audi could have an interest in bringing George Russell on board for the project, which I think complicates quite a bit of things there. Like, yeah, that was just another side rumor that I was reading, which has no basis.
I did hear the rumor. It's an interesting one. It's now that Adrian Newey has signed with Aston Martin, it seems less likely now, because if he's going anywhere, he's going to Aston, I think, especially because the Honda engine, Adrian Newey, they're definitely going to be able to pay him. He'll be able to drive Aston Martins. Yeah, seems like a good deal. Damn, that's actually a pretty good deal.
It really is. Absolutely.
That's a damn good deal. Shit. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the episode for today.
It's got me thinking. It's got me thinking about it. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. The next couple of seasons are going to be a mega thing, and if people think silly season is done and dusted, you have no idea.
Bro, silly season is still starting.
Yes.
Silly season hasn't stopped from the start of this year.
Yeah, no. It's getting to the end of the chapter, but there's still several more chapters to go.
Yeah. Until we fill up those last few seats and things are confirmed and it is next year, silly season is still on.
Yeah, I want Sauber to give Teo Porsche at least one season in the car.
Very unlikely.
They need to make it worth it. Otherwise, what's the point in being an academy boy?
You need to get into the right academy. That's the thing, though.
There are only so many. Red Bull have 1 million drivers. I mean, last year they had Ayawasa. Ayawasa finished in the top 3 of the F2 championship. Where is he now?
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolute none. But yeah, that is today's episode. Man, very interesting one. We do have Singapore coming up next, which, hey, hopefully George can go for the gap there again. Oh, okay, actually, I joke. I don't need him to do that again. But, yeah, will be a fun one. And
hopefully George doesn't put the car on the wall again.
Hopefully he can win this one without being over or underweight. But we'll see. There's big hopes and dreams from a Merc fan. But yeah,
Time will tell,
definitely. But that's all from us. We're gonna see you guys in the next one. Cheers.